Hey everybody, it's Professor Steins, and today I'm gonna kind of go over a lecture that I did this week in class. I kind of went back and rewatched the lecture and kind of decided that I didn't really speak up very well, and I didn't really. It was really kind of hard to see, especially a lot of the code I was writing. And to be honest, if there's really one thing I want you to take away from this class is how to write SQL statements and how to get data out of a database and kind of use it. Principles are important, and we're covering those. And I definitely, it's all helps in understanding how databases work. But at the end of the day, um, we need to be able to use them, and that's where the SQL statements come in. So this is kind of going to be, I had the class was kind of my introduction to SQL, but this is kind of going to be another video I make, and I'm going to put it everywhere. Hopefully that kind of walks through what I did, and hopefully it's a little bit easier to understand or see anyway. The downside is I'm doing this from home, so the version I have of Access is 2010, so it's going to be a little bit different from yours, but the basic steps are kind of the same. Um, I'm going to open it up, and I'm kind of at the screen right here, and double click on blank database, and really I can kind of close this one. I don't really need it open right now. It's not really going to save anything, but what I want to do is go up here to external data and text file. This might be a little bit different depending on which version you're using. Go to browse and find the course schedule CSV file that it's attached, hopefully with the video, and I'm going to import it into the current database. Hit OK. Now, a CSV file is comma separated file, so it's delimited. Hit next, and it's delimited by a comma. My first row is kind of going to be, I'm going to hit cancel and start that over. Okay, text file, course schedule. I probably should just let it go and shown you what to do if errors arise. It's delimited. The qualifier is going to be quotation marks, and first row contains field names. For whatever reason, if you choose this one first, at least with course schedule, it throws that error up and you'll get import errors. If you get those, you're kind of just going to have to drop everything and start it again. It's not too hard to do though, so it shouldn't be too bad. The problem I had when I did imports is the number section it's trying to make it into a long integer, so you need to kind of turn that to a text value, or in 2013 that's short text or long text. Doesn't really matter. I think that's the only one that gave me an error when I tried to import, but some other ones might be worth just making sure that they're not set. If I get an error, we'll start over and do it again. But hit next. I'm going to let Access choose the primary key and kind of make one that's one to whatever. I could choose the CRN value because the CRN is kind of a primary key to each class, but I'm going to let Access do it for me. I'm going to call it course schedule. You can save those steps if you need to. So if you got a table over to the left and only one table, that means everything got imported very well. If you got a second table or a message that said that the import was not right, then you kind of need to close everything up, delete it, and go back to your text file and just kind of redo the import, and hopefully you'll get it right this time. And so this is kind of it made a database out of all the things that are on MGA's course schedule. So all the teachers, all the classes, all the things in it. So anyway, getting to writing SQL, I'm just going to come over here to create and go to query design. And it's going to kind of open up this window, and you can add the table to the background, which this is kind of familiar if you've watched some of the other videos. So it's kind of got all my fields in it, and I don't have a second database here, so there's nothing to do any connections to. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go up here to View and flip this to SQL View and do select star from course schedule and hit run. And so that basically just gets me the same table I had before. This is my database, and this is all the rows in my database. But I can kind of keep flipping back and forth and answer different questions. So suppose you wanted to find out all the classes that I teach. So you could do that by looking up in the instructor field uh, where the value is like Steins, and I have two asterisks here. Those are wildcard statements in Access SQL, and so it'll look for, hopefully find anything in the Steins field that some weird's happening with my mouse. Well, hopefully find everything in the Steins field. It's like my name. So if I hit the run statement and kind of look at it, and so far it looks good because that's all the classes I'm kind of teaching. And I can kind of go over and look, and here I am. I'm sorting by this field. I could do some different things to it. So we have a term code here, and right now they're kind of all mixed in. Here's a 2016 with a 2015. So I could sort by the term code. And do that, I can just kind of right click here and go back to SQL view and put in order by statement. That was a term, already forgotten. Yeah. So when I hit the run, hopefully now everything is kind of by fall semester and then by spring semester, and you can see I have two summer classes up as well. So same result of rows, just in a different order. You can kind of see all the available seats that were left from fall. So that's pretty neat. There's lots of, basically we're kind of to the point where you're just able to answer questions. So if you have a different instructor, or what I did in class was our class, the section number, our class, the O1 section, O1A section is in Macon, the O1B section is in Warner Robins, and that kind of denotes a video conferencing class and the two sections, and kind of see one here. There's an O7A and an O7B, Cochrane and Dublin. So one of the questions I could ask to it would be where the section is like A, or the section is like B. So I get 185 rows, kind of see it down here, whoops, 185 rows, and if I kind of look at them, they're still sorted by the term code. And I'm kind of looking at some of the names and stuff in them. So a lot of them you kind of see they're actually being marked as video conference in the title somehow or another. And the basic stuff about what those classes are. One of the other questions I had, and I don't know if I'm positing my theory correctly, is if if A means 1 and B means 2 and C might mean 3 and D might mean 4. So why don't I take a look and see if there's any C classes exist out there. And so it looks like there's about 5 classes that have a C code in the section. So that might mean that these are taught in 3 locations as opposed to 2. Or if I looked in to see if it meant D, then I see one class and it's got a section D, O2D, and it's a VCon class. It's taught by this Christopher Lawrence professor. So I could look him up and kind of see, is he really teaching the same class in 4 locations? So I'm going to kind of just create a new query this time. That way I kind of don't lose where I'm at. Add the table, and flip it to SQL view. Put the star. And add my where clause, where instructor is equal to this guy. And hit run. So this was his political science 2301 class. So if I kind of look at his political science 2301 sections, Looks like there's 1, 2, and 3 of them there. They're all in actually they're in different term codes. Look at there. That one is spring. These two are fall. In the same class? Yeah. Spring one is, the fall one's not. Well, so it could be that my theory of, each new location gets A, B, C, or D is probably not true. It could be that the D means Dublin, and the M and the A's mean Macon. That might be a way. So, kind of look. I could flip back to my query and see where section is like A, and order by the campus. And it doesn't look like that's the rule. There's an A, but it's going to Cochrane. In the last record, it was an A, and it was going to Macon. Kind of see it's a little bit split, kind of 50-50, really. Interesting. So there's lots of things that you could do and kind of figure out, do different things, answer different questions. We're basically at the point where we're just using our data to answer questions. We're deriving information out of it, trying to, make it mean something. So suppose I wanted to find out, all the campuses and buildings that are taught on campus. So if I were to run that, I get all my Cochrane campus buildings, here to here. I get my Dublin campus buildings, Eastman, Macon. We figured out in class that F stands for fully at a distance. So if it has an F campus, like Geico it's taught off campus somewhere. And the question I have is there's things like MCCG, and it looks like MCCG is showing up in the Cochrane campus list and also showing up in the Macon campus list. And I think that's the only places it was showing up. Oh, it shows up in Warner Robins too. So my question is, if I was the database administrator or someone that's trying to enforce the rules in the database, would be, should this class be coded with an F instead of Cochrane, or things like that. Macon, these classes that use these codes, and I could kind of find that out by selecting where campus and building is equal to these things. So switch back to SQL view. Where campus is equal to Macon and building is equal to MCCG. So I can kind of find these classes that are marked that way. It looks like they're all sort of nursing classes. Couple different classes here, I suppose. Don't have any hours associated with them. That's kind of strange. So anyway, it kind of gets you asking the right questions in SQL, and should these be coded? Should these classes be coded with a F or fully online? Who knows? One of the other things that we found out when we looked up the instructional method, the F stand for fully online, the P stand for partially online, is that we see a T field here. So I could kind of look at my SQL and select distinct instructional method. I think it's just INSTR. Well, I say that, but then it wasn't. INSM. Okay. So we can see the fully onlines, the hybrids, the partials. E probably stands for eCore, but there's a T, and we're not really sure what the T stands for. So we could look up our courses by that. And So instructional method of T seems to be a wide, a lot of different types of classes. There's a couple IT classes in there. So we're not really sure what that means either. And it's just kind of a field and banner. It stands for technology, but what does it actually mean in these classes? I think the question kind of probably goes back to the secretaries because they're the ones that kind of input the choices that each class has. So I went and grilled the banner guys about it and said, what's the T field mean? And they just said technology. I said, what does that mean? And they said, we don't know. We were just asked to put the value in, so that's what they did. But there's all kinds of questions to be answered out here. You could find, if you wanted to find all the classes that your favorite professors are teaching for spring, you could kind of just do a sort on this table. The way course schedule works, though, is that this file kind of lands brand new every 30 minutes from the banner server. And then the website kind of uses it on the fly. So, the data gets updated in the background, and the interface that you guys use doesn't really change a whole lot. It's just the data underneath it that does, and it changes every 30 minutes. So that's kind of why it's a big flat table. It's not. It's just coming as a CSV file from another server, and we do some parsing to it and kind of clean it up when it comes into the SQL server. Like I think we kind of fix the dates a little bit. But for the most part, it's just kind of how you guys see it is kind of how it's stored in the database, except that it's changed every 30 minutes basically. So, I would challenge somebody. I'm kind of doing this. I did the lecture in class, but I'm probably going to put this across lots of uh, my other classes. Is that I could probably challenge somebody to, under those business rules where this file arrives brand new every 30 minutes. How can you automatically read, sort, and do all the things that Core Schedule currently does just by looking at the flat table? It's a good challenge. I think somebody might figure that out on their own. I think it'd be kind of cool, and kind of in a position where if it works out really well, could find a way to make it live and in the real deal. So anyway, I hope this kind of goes over the lecture that I had that was a little bit hard to understand, I guess, and hopefully I'll get a little better about that. But hope you find it kind of interesting, and let me know if you have any questions about database in general. And I think the classes are going pretty well. I really hope that, like I said, I really want you to kind of take away SQL. So how to write SQL out of this class. That's kind of my goal, in addition to all the course outcomes that we have. Okay, well, have a good one. Goodbye.